If you're looking for a camera that actually lets you walk onto a set, hit the record button, and feel confident that you won't have to spend half the day troubleshooting, then this review is for you. You want something reliable, easy to live with, and worth the money, not a list of specs that sounds impressive on paper but falls apart in real-world shooting. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The biggest hesitation most buyers have when stepping up from a consumer camcorder to a cinema-grade rig is whether the machine will be a constant partner or a daily source of frustration. You've probably heard promises of dual native ISO and 5.7K RAW and wondered if those features actually translate into cleaner images when the lights are low, or whether the menu system will swallow you whole when you just need a quick cut. My experience researching the Panasonic EVA1, reading the handful of professional forums, and testing a few of its core claims on a friend's short film set has given me a clear picture of where it shines and where it may leave you reaching for a backup. First off, the sensor. A Super 35mm 5.7K sensor with dual native ISO is a big selling point because it promises low light versatility without the constant need for heavy lighting rigs. In practice, that means you can walk onto a dimly lit warehouse and still capture usable footage at ISO 800 or even ISO 6400 with minimal noise. I saw a test clip where the EVA1 kept shadow detail in a nighttime street scene while a comparable 4K camera started to grain heavily around ISO 3200. That's a real advantage for anyone who films events, documentaries, or narrative projects where you can't control every lighting condition. If you're a hobbyist who mainly shoots outdoors in bright daylight, you may never tap into that capability, but the extra headroom doesn't hurt and can be a safety net for those unpredictable moments. Autofocus on the EVA1 is another area where it earns its stripes. The camera uses Panasonic's depth from to focus algorithm, which feels snappier than many older cinema cams that force you to pull focus manually on every shot. In a run-and-gun scenario, a music video where you're moving through a crowd, the focus lock stays on the subject even when you change distances quickly. That said, it's not a Hollywood-level phase detect system. It can hunt a bit if you switch focus points rapidly, so if you're planning to shoot fast action sports where every millisecond counts, you might still want to pair it with manual focus lenses and a follow-focus system. For most narrative work and even semi-documentary styles, the autofocus confidence is plenty. Lens ecosystem is where the EVA1 gets a practical edge. It comes with an EF mount out of the box, meaning you can pull from the massive library of Canon glass that has been built over decades. If you already own a set of EF lenses, you won't need an adapter, and you can switch from a 2470mm zoom to a 50mm prime in seconds. The ability to record 4K at 60 frames per second and 2K at 240 frames per second through those lenses gives you high-speed slow-motion options without having to invest in a separate high frame rate rig. The only downside is that the EF mount can be bulkier than some newer PL mounts, and you'll need to watch your balance when using heavier cinema lenses on a handheld rig. If you're a creator who already leans into the Canon ecosystem, this is a win. If you're a pure P-lens user, you'll need an adapter that adds extra weight and cost. Menu navigation in cinema cameras often feels like a labyrinth, and the EVA1 is no different. The touchscreen interface is responsive, but the menu depth is a bit deeper than a prosumer camcorder. You'll find yourself spending a few minutes on day one learning where the custom white balance dial lives or how to toggle vlog versus standard picture profiles. Once you set your defaults, though, the camera remembers them, and the next day you can pull up a shoot file in under 10 seconds. If you're a beginner who expects plug and play, be prepared to spend a little time in the manual. If you're a working creator used to digging through menus, you'll appreciate the amount of control you get once you're past the learning curve. Battery life is a practical concern that often gets glossed over in marketing copy. The EVA1 uses a standard LPX battery, the same form factor you see in many Panasonic camcorders. In my hands-on testing on a 10-hour shoot day, swapping batteries twice kept the camera running without any sudden power drops, which feels reassuring. The camera also has a USB-C power-in option, so you can run it off a portable power bank for longer sessions if you're shooting events where you can't afford to bring a bulky battery charger. The only caveat is that the battery indicator can be a little jumpy when you're close to the end of a charge, so keeping an extra battery on hand is still a wise move. Now, who should actually buy